commercial logo robe?
Your Honor, it's an ideological logo. It has nothing to do with commerce.
President, the International Defense Council for Nigeria, please stand. Could you please remove the logo on your robe? The robe is to be worn by the judicial personnel in this courtroom for its proceeding. Besides the assigned robe, you are not allowed to wear any logo on your robe. So please remove the logo from your robe.
Your Honor, I'd rather not remove it voluntarily. If you're ordering me to remove it, then I certainly will.
Yes, you are ordered to remove it now. The President, good morning, Mr. Witness. What is your name? My name is Jun Kim. Besides Jun Kim, have you used any other names or alias? Answer. My alias is Kam. Question. Thank you, Mr. Jun Kim. During the proceeding to hear your testimony before this chamber, and as 3 languages are used in this courtroom through the interpretation system, namely into French and English, and in order to facilitate the flow of the interpretation and for the proper record, you need to wait until you see the red light on the microphone before you could speak, so that your voice can go through the interpretation system for all the parties and the public. Mr. Jun Kim, can you tell the chamber your date of birth? Answer. I was born on 9th April 1942. Question. Where is your current address? Answer. My current address is at Watanak Village, Watanak Commune, Sambo District, Prati Province. Question. What is your occupation? Answer. I am the commune chief of Watanak, and I am also a rice farmer. Question. What are the names of your parents? Answer. My father's name is Jun Ha. Question. And your mother's name? Answer. My mother's name is Tam Jirai. Question. What is your wife's name? Answer. Her name is Lun Eng Sien. Question. How many children do you have? Answer. I am the father of 7 children, 6 sons and 1 daughter. Mr. Jun Kim, as reported by the greffier of the trial chamber, to your best knowledge, you are not related by blood or by law to any of the civil party or the 3 accused, namely Nuon Chea, Yeung Sari and Khieu Sampong. Is that correct? Answer: yes, that is the truth. In the same report, it stated that you already took an oath before you enter this courtroom. Is that correct? Answer: yes, that is correct. Mr. Jun Kim, as a witness to testify before this trial chamber, you are hereby informed of your right and obligation as a witness to the proceedings before the trial chamber. You can refuse to respond to any question or refuse to make any comments that could incriminate yourself. That is, you have the right of self-incrimination, even think that your response or your comment could lead to your prosecution. As a witness, you have the responsibility and obligation to testify before this trial chamber by responding to all the questions put to you by either the chamber or any other parties, except in the case where you believe your response or comment could incriminate you. As a witness, you must tell the truth that you have known, have heard, have remembered, or have experienced or observed personally in regards to the events or facts related to the questions put to you by any of the parties or the chamber. Do you understand that? Answer: yes, I have heard what you said. Today we also observe the presence of the duty counsel that Visu has provided to you. For the proper record, could the duty counsel state your name or your ID number? Duty counsel: good morning, Mr. President. My name is Lam Bun Heng. My ID number is 189. My office is at number 39 CD in San Sok, in Songkat, San Sok, Phnom Penh. Thank you, says the President. Mr. Jun Kim, during the past few years, have you been interviewed by investigators of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges of the ECCC? If so, how many times have you been interviewed? Answer: I have provided through interviews. The second time is in Troi Bontia village. Thank you. Can you recall the years of your interviews? Just the years would suffice. It would be better if you can recall the exact date of the 2 interviews. Answer: it was around 2009. Thank you. Before you entered the courtroom for your testimony today, have you reviewed your interviews, or have you been reread the interviews to record all the statements you made in those interviews? Answer: my duty counsel read the interviews to me. That is the statements I made. Thank you. To your best knowledge and recollection, can you tell us whether the statements that were read to you recently are consistent with the statements you made or provided to the investigators that you said in 2009? Answer: the content of the document is consistent with my statements. However, there are some points, namely 1973 and 1974, that I participated in the meeting with Nuon Chea. In the document, it stated that it was in 1974. However, from my recollection, it was held in 1973. Thank you. The prosecution, you are reminded that for the questioning of this testimony, you are allowed to question this witness first. You may now proceed with the questioning of this witness. King. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors, and good morning everyone in and around the courtroom. Good morning, Mr. Jun Kim. I have some questions for you. The first question is the following. During the time that you worked in Kratie province for the Communist Party of Cambodia, in particular during the Democratic Cambodia regime, did you know, hear or see any of the CPK leaders going through Kratie province? Answer: during the time that I worked, I could not grasp the situation. However, in 1973, Nuon Chea went to convene a meeting in Da commune in Kratie district, and all the commune chiefs were gathered. That is, all the commune chiefs of the Kratie province. At that time, Kratie comprised only of 3 communes within a sector called Sector 505. I met Nuon Chea once. The 3 communes were Sambo, Crochet, and Snool. And that was the first time that I met Nuon Chea, and I did not meet any other leaders. Thank you. Question: can you recall at that time what did Nuon Chea do during the meeting? What topics did he raise? Can you tell the court? Answer: at that time, Nuon Chea convened a meeting giving instructions regarding the cooperatives. He told the meeting participants to implement the establishment of the cooperatives, that we should not be too anxious to create the cooperatives straight away. We should create a mutual assistance groups, and also the low-level cooperatives where they understand quite rightly about the cooperative. And we also were instructed to create the high-level cooperative where people understood well what it meant. And he also talked about the experiences from drawing the experience, the pro and con in creating the cooperative. And he gave instruction not to create any community. Thank you. When Nuon Chea gave instruction regarding the establishment of the cooperative, did he give the reasons for such establishment of the cooperative? Answer. At that time, he stated that the current situation in Cambodia, due to the war-torn situation, due to the lack of instruments and tools, which should gather to collect the forces in the mutual assistance groups and the cooperatives so that we could survive.
Thank you. Question. Do you still remember that in your province, when was the first cooperative established? Response. In Kratie province, after Nuon Chea gave some education to the people at each respective district, the process of establishing the cooperative was underway. However, in Sambo district, at that time, the secretary of the party's district party had to conduct a meeting at other districts as well after this meeting, because they said that we should not start with the mutual assistance group, but we should go to establish the cooperatives directly. And I thought it was against the idea rendered by Nuon Chea, because this means that not only the cooperative was established, but communal eating was also introduced. Question. How long had the cooperatives been in place? Response. In Kratie province, cooperatives were established gradually, and it came into existence until 1979. Thank you. Question. Do you still recall the structure of the cooperative? Was there any change to its structure after the 17th of April 1975? Question, response. At the beginning, in small sub-districts, the cooperatives were under the supervision of the sub-districts. But in 1977, from 1971 to 1976, I was the commune chief of Watana. And later on, I was moved to the Sambo district commune chief, and we have, and then I removed to the Srai Khun cooperative. There were 2 cooperatives in that commune. At that time, there were no no village chiefs, and they created a group, the group that comprised of 3 people as member. Question. What kind of people were recruited or were in the cooperatives? Response. Everyone had to remain in the cooperatives and worked. For example, after 1976, In each cooperative, there were mixture of people who were evacuated from various surrounding districts and villages. The evacuation could be classified into two. Some people were evacuated from the long liberated communes who had to be moved to the less populated communes. And altogether, we also had the 17th of April people who were evacuated into the cooperatives. Thank you. Question. I would like to also refer to document E3/368 in which you indicated about the Islams or the Chams, people who were evacuated to the cooperative and classified as new people, along with the 17th of April people who were evacuated to the location, about 100 families of them. My question is, why these Chams people were mixed in the cooperative with other people? Response. With regard to the Cham evacuees who made to live in the cooperatives, they had been in the cooperative before the 17th of April people. There was no classification as new people like that. They were only regarded as ordinary people. Later on, we noted that the 17th of April evacuees came and placed in the base. Question. I would like to move to another topic concerning the arrests. Do you still recollect whether people in the leadership ordered any arrests when you were still the leader of the respective position during the Khmer Rouge regime? Response. When I was in charge of Sambo district, sub-district, in this commune there was an order from the district committee, the order to take Ta Chi. Ta Chi was a former commune chief. They did not tell us that the person had to be arrested, but we were ordered that he should go along with some tools, including the machete, so that he could help others with the work. Later on, I learned that he never returned. He just disappeared. So I believe that he was arrested and the order was rendered from the district committee. Question. Were you aware of any other orders from other level other than the district committee concerning the arrest? Response. I'm afraid I was not aware of this, and I have no idea who ordered from any other level other than this. And as I already indicated, Mr. Nguyen Jie ordered that the lower level and upper level cooperatives were established, but this instruction was not properly implemented because some people appear to turn against him. So we could see that the people at the district level could order something other than the order from the provincial level. Question. In the same document, E3/368, you stated that Ta Kun was in charge of the economic section, and he was arrested in 1978. Do you know why he was arrested? Response: I don't know much about the arrest of Tak Kun, but Tak Kun was at the district's economic section, but later on he was in charge of the provincial economic section of Kratie. In 1978, there was a huge arrest being made because in my Sambo sub-district, all the commune chiefs were arrested, saving only very few. The police were also arrested, and the arrests were made all across the province. However, I did not know who ordered the arrest, although I learned at the later that in my section the military came to be in charge. Thank you. In the same document, you indicated that Woon was the secretary of the district in charge of the economy when later on John was in place, to replace the former individual. My question is, to your knowledge, do you know why there was such a reshuffle or replacement time and again? Response: after several district secretaries or committee were arrested, there was a person from the military to take charge of the position. But later on, there were two individuals, Woon and another person, and named Chuk. And I think there was no surprise to these changes, because one person could not handle the task alone, and the new people had to be in place to help with the work and exchange. Question: during the Democratic Cambodia regime, do you know who was the most responsible person with regard to economy? Response: I don't understand who he was, the person who in charge of the national economy as a whole. Question: before the co-investigating judges, you also stated when asked about the head of B3, you said you were the chief and Peng was your deputy. At the beginning there were 450 youth. Later on the number reduced to about 200. And people were sent from Tam Mong district. These 200 people were accused of being enemies. So why these people were sent to you, and what did you do with them? Response: in April 1978, young people were moved to B3. B3 was used to hold cadres who were arrested. After the cadres were removed from the location, young people or youth were then transferred. At the beginning there were 450 people. They were under the military supervision. The military were too harsh, and later on I was called to be in charge of these 450 young people instead. Later on there were another group of young people from Tam Mong to be placed under my supervision at the unit. They were there only to assist farming. And on the 1st of June 1978, I was moved to B3, and they asked me to ensure that 100 hectares of land had to be cleared and that farming could begin on that. And it was really a tough job because with 100 hectares to plow or to clear the land for farming, it was a huge task. That's why we needed assistance. Later on, I don't know what happened to those people who had also been removed. Question: do you know who ordered such removal of these individuals? Response: I don't know, because the work site where I was in was under Sambo, and Chuk, deputy secretary of the district, first was in charge, and later on Chuk said that he had to be also transferred to another location, perhaps in Kampong Thom province. I don't know. Question: with regard to the political sessions, had you ever been attending any political sessions during the Democratic Cambodia regime? Response: I had attended several sessions with the leaders of the district and the province, because people at the district were also members of the provincial party, so I had to join the sessions. Question: had you ever attended sessions in Phnom Penh? Response: no, I never been to Phnom Penh during that time. Question: when you joined the sessions with the district and provincial committees, were you handed out any course materials? Response: during the study sessions, I studied the revolutionary flag. Question: at that time, were you aware who was the author of the revolutionary flag? Response: I know that the party center was the one who managed the publication of the flags. Question: with regard to the content of the revolutionary flag, was part of the content of the flag cover the comments made by the leadership of the Communist Party of Cambodia? Response: I think it has been a very long time ago, and I may forget. However, there was an instruction on how to establish the cooperative and other affairs. Question: do you know during the democratic Cambodia, whether or how often the revolutionary flags were issued. Response. I don't know clearly about this because I only obtained the copies when they were handed over to me from the district committee. Question. Do you know the purpose of the distribution of revolutionary flags? Who would be the recipients of the revolutionary flags? Response. The revolutionary flags were only handed out to the leadership of the district, for example. Only a copy would be handed over to the district committee for guidance. Question. Regarding these revolutionary flag magazines, do you still recollect its appearance or look? Response. I think I don't remember the detail, but I remember that there was a flag on the cover page of the magazine, the small flag. The co-prosecutor, I have no further questions to put to you. Thank you very much, Mr. President and Your Honors, and thank you, witness, for your time. I would like to hand over to my colleague to put further questions. The President, International Co-Prosecutor, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the bench. Good morning, Mr. Young Kim. I want to go back in time a little bit. Can you tell us, first of all, were you a member of the Communist Party of Kampuchea? And if so, when did you become a member and who introduced you?
Response. I joined, I was a member of the CPK in 1971, and the person who introduced me was Chad, the secretary of party's district of Sambo.
Provided indicates that you were born in Kroch Kamar district, but I gather you joined the party in Krachi district. Can you tell us when did you move from Kroch Kamar to Krachi?
Response. I was born in Krochma, Kampong Cham. When I was 10 years old in 1950, there was insecurity in the country. In my location, there were group who extort money from people, and with that my father could not bear the pressure because they extorted money from my father, and when the information reported to the police came and extorted further money. So we moved to Roka Kandal location of Karachi province, where I grew up and went to school. In my youth, I also moved to Watanak to do some farming with the villagers. I was single at that time, and in 1969 I got married. In 1970 there was a coup d'etat, and this is how things happened. This is how my life was going on, or how things happened in my life.
Thank you for that explanation. Can you tell us, before you were allowed to join the party, did you have to be educated or instructed on the party lines or party policies?
Response. After the coup d'etat, the situation was chaotic. There were opportunists who created the nationalist groups. There were Kut-Dam group and other people who joined the groups and died. I did not join the gang because I was afraid. I believed that the revolutionary movement was not bad. So I was educated on this, and later on the district level people inducted me and made me join the CPK as a member.
You've told us that you were appointed chief of Watanak Commune in 1971, and that you continued in that position until late 1976. I'd like to now ask you just a few further questions about your role as a commune chief. First of all, can you tell us where Watanak Commune was located?
Response. Watanak Commune was part of Sambo district. Before 1971, Watanak Commune was in Kampong Cham Commune. Kampong Cham Commune was in Kohronil Island, one of the biggest islands in Cambodia. In the location, from Karachi province to Watanak Commune, it is about 24 kilometers. However, we had to take the ferry to the other side of the Mekong River to reach that location.
And am I correct that Watanak Commune was on the west side of the Mekong River, and Sambo district and Karachi district, or Sambo Commune and Karachi district, were over on the east side of the Mekong River? Is that correct?
Response. Yes, it is. Watanak Commune is on the west bank of the Mekong River, adjacent to Prek Prasap district. Sambo Commune is on the east bank of the Mekong River. Sandan, which is another commune, is also border Watanak Commune. And there is an old road that link Watanak to Steng Trang province. However, the new road is built. We can take this new road all the way to Karachi and Steng Trang.
Thank you. Can you describe for us a little bit what your responsibilities were as a commune chief?
Response. As a commune chief during the Democratic Cambodia regime, the main tasks were economy. We had to work to do something with agriculture. We were advised by the leadership that the irrigation system had to be in place to ensure proper farming in the local communities. And as the community, we had to also maintain orders and also paid great attention to the health issues of the people. There were hospitals. Although there were not sufficient medicine, people could be admitted to the hospital. There were trained midwives who could also provide delivery services to pregnant women who delivered their baby there.
Did the commune have a military section and a security section?
Answered, yes. In a commune, there was a structure of the commune chief who was overall in charge, and a deputy in charge of the military, and a member in charge of the economic, and another member in charge of security, and another member for social affairs and the cooperative. So there were 5 people in the committee at that level.
Could you describe for us what the difference was between the role of the person who was responsible for the military section and the person who was responsible for security? What was the difference in their responsibilities?
Answer. For the military section, the task was to be in charge of the safety in the base. For example, if there was an incident, then the military force, including the militia in the base, would deal with such an incident. As for the security, there was only 1 or 2 persons in that section. If there was an incident, they would report to the commune level or to the higher level.
And during the period that you were the chief of Watanak commune, who was the superior to whom you reported?
Answer. The higher level of the commune is the district. Initially there was Tajat, and later on he was replaced as he was transferred to Krati, and Mr. Pan actually replaced him, and later on Mr. Pan was also transferred to Krati and he was replaced by Mr. Nee. Later on, in 1978, he was arrested, and after his arrest, Mr. Vern took the position until the arrival of the Vietnamese.
Thank you for that answer. We'll talk a little more about the arrests in 1978 later today. In addition to Watanak commune, how many other communes were there in Sambo district?
Answer. In Sambo district, prior to 1979, There were Watana commune, Sandan, Sambo, and Bang Khnyai, Bang Khnya, Kampong Cham, Kabao Damrai, Old Train, and number 9 is Srachi. There were 9 communes in Sambo district. However, currently the last commune no longer exists. Old Trier was the new commune, and Roluk Mien Chai was a new district, a new commune in the Sambo district currently.
Where was the Sambo district office located?
Answer. Sambo district during the Jade position, it was located in Kampong Leu, in Kok Khnyai. It was about 3 kilometers from Sambo. And later on, during the Pan's authority, it was relocated to a location near the provincial district, near the district town. It was about 500 to 600 meters away from the district town along the river. It was still in the Sambo district.
You've told us already that there were 3 districts in Krachi sector, Sector 505, Sambo district, Krachi district, and Snool district. Can you identify for us who the district secretaries were for Krachi and Snool district during the DK regime?
Answer. I could not grasp the situation in Krachi and Snool districts at the time. I did not know who were the secretaries. As for Sambo district, initially it was Mr. Chai who was the secretary. After he was transferred, within that structure, nobody replaced him, but I believed whoever was the district chief was the secretary of that district.
Let's talk just a little bit about the sector level now. In your statement that you gave to the co-investigating judges, you stated that the secretary of Sector 505 from 1971 to 1976 was Tayem, that Tayi was the next sector secretary from 1976 to early 1978, and that the sector chief after that was Muen. My question to you is, how often did you see Tayem and Tayi when they were the chiefs of Krachi sector?
Answer. Allow me to say that Mr. Jai was the secretary of the provincial town. Later on, he was transferred, and Mr. G replaced him in that position. I only made this provincial secretary during the conference held at the provincial town, and during the yearly study session, which lasted about 15 to 20 days. That was the yearly study session at the time that I made the provincial secretary.
You mentioned conferences at the provincial town and then and yearly study sessions that lasted 15 days. What I just wanted to clarify was, in addition to those annual study sessions, were there other conferences that you attended at the provincial town, or was it just the annual study sessions?
Answer. We did not go regularly for a meeting at the provincial town. Besides the conference, we did not attend any other meeting. The meetings were frequently held at the district level.
Who all would go to the annual study sessions that you indicated lasted 15 days?
Answer. The study session was participated by the district committees, the sub-district committees, and sometimes it also went lower through the village committee, and of course the district committees and those people working in the offices throughout the province, as well as the military, they all attended that study session.
Earlier this morning, you told my colleague about study sessions where you studied the revolutionary flag. Were these the same, these annual study sessions in the provincial town? Were these the occasions where you studied revolutionary flag?
Answer. During all the study sessions that I attended, most of the contents were extracted from the revolutionary flag magazines, because that magazine was the core document to provide us guidelines and instructions.
And did you also study the revolutionary flag at meetings or study sessions at the district office?
Answer. During the study sessions, we did not actually take the Revolutionary Flag magazine to read it out during the session, but they were distributed. However, as I said, the study sessions were basically based on the magazines.
Just so I'm clear, when you say they were distributed, do you mean that all the participants received a copy of the magazine?
Answer. The Revolutionary Flag magazine were only given through the district. Only 2 copies were given through the district committee, and they were not widely distributed at all.
So am I correct then that if you wanted to see and read the revolutionary flag yourself, you needed to go into the district office? Is that correct?
Answer. At that time, there was no library for people going to read. For example, if the magazine was given to me, I would read within my district committee. It was not open to everyone. Not anyone could read that magazine.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. In your statement that you provided to OCIJ, You also identified two other members of the Sector 505 committee. Kuhn, who you stated was responsible for Sector Military, and Kong, who you identified as the Sector Security Chief from 1970 to 1977. Do you remember any other members of the Sector 505 committee in addition to the secretaries we've already talked about, Kuhn and Kong? Do you remember any other members?
Answer. I can't recall Kong, but besides, I do not know any others at the sector level. As Kuhn, he was actually involved in the military section at the district level, not at the provincial level. As for Moon, he was at the Karachi provincial level after the arrest of G. Moon and Kun came to the Karachi province. However, I do not know them face to face.
Do you know where Moon came from when he replaced Tayi as the sector secretary?
Answer. I did not grasp hold of the whereabouts of the original place of Moon Kun.
During the period of democratic Kampuchea, was a Kretchi sector one of the independent sectors?
Answer. During the decay period, through my understanding at the Sambo district, that sector was autonomous under the direct control of the center. And as I understood, it was in the northeast zone initially, and later on it was separated from the northeast zone to become an autonomous sector.
When was it that Kretchi's sector was separated from the northeast zone and became an autonomous sector?
Answer. I cannot grasp the year. As I understood, it was around 1977 when it became an autonomous sector. It was either in late 76 or early 77, although I am not entirely sure.
And can you tell us what the difference was between a sector that was part of a zone and an autonomous sector?
Answer. As I understand, if a sector within the zone level, it had to liaise directly with the zone. As for an autonomous sector, it would communicate directly with the center. That is, the center located in Phnom Penh. It did not have to go through the zone.
Thank you. My colleague and I have asked you already a number of questions about revolutionary flag. One more question I wanted to clarify. Do you remember the time period or the years when you saw the revolutionary flag publications? And specifically, what I'm interested in was it just during the period of democratic Kampuchea, or was it also before April 1975?
Answer. My recollection is rather vague regarding this point. However, I am certain that the flag existed after the 17th April 1975.
To turn to another subject now, can you tell us when Karachi province was liberated by the Khmer Rouge? What year did that take place?
Answer. The northeast zone, in particular the Karachi province, that is, after the coup d'etat of the 18th April 70, about 2 months after the coup d'etat, the Karachi province was liberated. At that time, the lunar soldiers already fled from the province, and the Khmer Rouge took control of the province since.
When the Khmer Rouge initially took control of Karachi province, were people allowed to continue living in the cities and towns and having operating markets and businesses?
Answer. After the liberation in 1970, the market was still operational, and people were still engaging in running their daily business. The only issue was the transportation of goods. Sometimes people hated to transport goods by bicycle to a Kampong Thom, for example. So it was rather difficult when it comes to goods transportation, but the market still existed.
Do you recall whether there came a time when the party leaders became concerned about the markets still being open in Karachi province?
I cannot recall that.
Mr. President, at this time I'd like to present a issue of revolutionary flag. The witness has indicated that he's familiar with the publication. This is the August 1975 issue of revolutionary flag. It is document E3/5. And the excerpt I would like to ask the witness about is at Khmer ERN 000-63316, English ERN 00401480281, and French ERN 00538-956. And we'd like to put that up on the screen. Perhaps before I proceed, Mr. Witness, if I provided you a copy of this document, would you be able to read it, or do you need me to read the document to you?
President, yes, you can proceed. Court officer, could you deliver the document from the prosecution for the witness to examine?
Mr. Witness, the page that I'm going to ask you about is Khmer page 63316. First, before we go to that page, if you could just take a quick look at the cover page and tell me whether that looks like the cover of revolutionary flags that you described to my national colleague earlier.
Answer: yes, it is.
The portion of this revolutionary flag that I'd like to ask you about contains the following statement. Quote, the Kretchi market was approximately the same as before. And I should start by saying they're describing the year 1971 in this part of the revolutionary flag. So it says the Kretchi market was approximately the same as before. Hondas were circling back and forth. Our militiamen, pants or not, shirts or not, were walking around, meaning they were still acting as masters. As for us, we were still acting as policemen like in the Sihanouk era, the Knoll era. Therefore, this commerce could not serve the lives of the people and could not serve the war of national liberation. It was clearly seen by mid-73 that there was no way out for us. We could not gather up the people. The businessmen were the masters. They handed out this and handed out that in terms of commercial materials to the people. If we kept going along that road, there was no way out. End of quote. Does that refresh your recollection that there came a time where there was a concern within the party about the markets continuing to be open in Kretchi?
Answer: regarding the Kretchi markets, I did not receive any instructions. We were based at a far distance from the market.
Do you recall whether there came a time when all the markets in Kretchi, including in your area, all the markets were closed?
Answer: I cannot recall it well because at our district there was no market. However, it is my understanding that the money was no longer circulated around 1974. The commercial trade was still ongoing. For example, the district, the barter system was operational. For example, the exchange of medicine for other goods or commodity. But I cannot recall for sure as when the markets were closed. It is my opinion that when the money was no longer circulated, the markets would be closed.
Do you remember why it was that they stopped, or that the circulation of money was stopped in Kretchi in 1974?
Answer: I cannot grasp the situation that well. However, it is a common sense when the money was no longer circulated, the market would have to be closed. Before the money was prohibited from circulation. There had to be a communal eating, and when people ate communally, there was no need for the currency circulation at the cooperative.
Thank you for your response, Mr. Witness.
The President, thank you, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. Since it is now appropriate time for the adjournment, we will adjourn for 20 minutes. The next session will be resumed by 10 to 11. Court officer is now instructed to assist Mr. Witness at his duty counsel during the adjournment and have them return to the courtroom before 11 or 10 to 11.